Niamey, extraordinary summit. President Buhari tasked African leaders on industrial growth to unlock continent's huge potential. Nigeria deploys medical contingents to support peace mission in Mali.
We are expected to deploy these newly acquired skills to save lives in the mission area.
Gender-based violence, how has Nigeria fared? As the world draws attention to the rising challenge.
This administration remains resolute to not only meet the 35% national gender policy, but to exceed it across key decision-making roles.
Hello and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Jummai Yusuf. We are live in Abuja. Adiola Kame Akere joins me from Lagos. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to follow this newscast live on our website, nta.ng/live. Follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, as well as all our other social media platforms displayed on the screen. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari says industrialization and diversification of African economies are not only critical towards unlocking their enormous potentials for growth and prosperity, but also the solution to the socio-economic challenges bedeviling the continent. This was while addressing African leaders at an extraordinary summit in Niamey, Niger Republic. The president made a strong case for collaboration that will ultimately lead to full industrialization by the year 2030. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
The extraordinary session of the African Union is convened towards addressing issues of industrialization and economic diversification based on the need to realize the goals set out in the AU Agenda 2063 and the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This is aimed at launching the African continent on the path to poverty reduction, food security, and technological advancement.
Times have changed, and the economic unity of our continent is more important than ever. We have not come this far to slow down. We have a choice to make. The future is in our hands.
We look forward to greater partnerships as we jointly push ahead with the Pan-African trade and industrialization agenda.
Let us diversify our economies. Let us close the door of poverty and let us open the highways for wealth through industrialization.
Delivering Nigeria's national statement in a closed session, President Muhammadu Buhari expressed the conviction that the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement now being implemented will give impetus to the continent's quest for an industrial revolution. This, he however said, can only be achieved if possibilities of collaboration in pooling resources on a continental level are explored towards addressing the vexing problem of energy generation and distribution. The president was emphatic that Africa cannot industrialize if the problem of generating cheap and clean energy is not solved. He also made a case for the education system and academic curricula be rejigged to gravitate towards science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This, he believes, is a short way to produce the next generation of managers for the envisaged industrial complex that will not be dependent on expatriates. The continent, he also said, needs more foreign direct investment in science, technology, and innovation to drive industrialization. President Buhari used the opportunity to highlight his administration's efforts at economic diversification as well as exploring bilateral, multilateral, and other opportunities for the creation of Center of Excellence for Vaccine Manufacturing and Distribution in Nigeria. The summit is expected to adopt various draft protocols, including that of investment, and also launch additional operational tools for the African Continental Free Trade Area. From Niamey, the Republic of Niger, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari is back in Abuja after a two-day official visit to Niamey, Republic of Niger. The president was received on arrival at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, Minister of the FCT Mohammed Musa Bello, the Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba, the Director General Department of State Services Yusuf Magaji Bichi, and other top government functionaries. While in the Republic of Niger, President Buhari inaugurated a newly constructed major road in the capital Niamey named after him. He also presented to the public the French version of the book entitled Muhammadu Buhari, Challenges of Leadership in Nigeria, translation of which was sponsored by the government of Niger as a mark of honor to the Nigerian leader. The president also joined other African leaders at the extraordinary summit of the African Union on industrialization and economic diversification. Achieving 95% financial inclusion by 2024 is a target policymakers and implementers must work to realize so as to attain sustainable growth and development. Musa Abubakar reports that this was the position of the Central Bank of Nigeria at the International Financial Inclusion Conference in Abuja.
Financial services are becoming more and more accessible by the day, a manifestation of concerted policy of the CBN and sectoral efforts to accelerate financial inclusion over the years. Although financial inclusion rate had increased to 64.1% from 53.7%, the CBN is particular about reducing the rate of exclusion. This conference seeks to reflect Nigeria's financial inclusion journey.
As financial inclusion stakeholders in Nigeria, we have invited you here to tell our financial inclusion story and showcase some of the key policies and initiatives that Nigeria has implemented to enable her to achieve her financial inclusion objectives.
The federal government is committed to providing continuous support to all financial inclusion stakeholder institutions in the public and private sectors.
Convene an important global conversation on how to address the persisting exclusions in certain segments, exclusion gaps such as women, youth, and rural dwellers.
Amongst the 4 strategic documents launched to deepen financial inclusion is the Payment System Vision 2025. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
The National Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center being constructed at the cost of around 12 billion naira will be partly completed and set for inauguration by March 2023. Chidinma Ndubisi reports that this was the assurance given to the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, when he went to inspect the 2-tower edifice located at Central Business District, Abuja. The building with 7 and 8 suspended floors is linked on all floors and is being constructed by an indigenous company.
The center is another milestone for digital transformation in Nigeria.
Based on what I have seen, all these things are in alignment with what the Federal Executive Council has approved. The quality of the work is also very commendable, and augmentation was also approved based on what I have inspected. That has also been accommodated.
The directive I gave this afternoon is we should start working 24/7. We don't want partial completion.
One of the towers will house the National Digital Innovation, where Nigerians will acquire cutting-edge technological skills and develop hardware, software, including smart energy solutions and emerging technologies for global use. Availability of power 24 hours a day from an independent state source will promote the industrialization of the state, which is a policy drive of the Ayade administration. Now, these are words of Cross River State Governor Professor Ben Ayade during an inspection visit to the 26-megawatt gas-fired power plant at Adebo in Odukani local government area. Paul Abel tells us more.
26-megawatt gas-fired power plant with pre-commissioning completed and ready to commence full operations is expected to meet the power needs of residents in Calabar metropolis. The inspection, which will pave way for the first firing and hand over to the concessionaire firm in December, also afforded the governor the opportunity to speak to the host community to support the contractors in sustaining a peaceful environment.
The consistent generation of 26 megawatts from here, combined with the parliamentary extension, which does about 27 megawatts, will give Cross River State, indeed Calabar, almost 50 megawatts of steady power.
We would like to thank Cross River State Government and Honorable Governor. He has a vision for the state. He wants to make energy security his priority, and we are with him. We are going to use our skills and bring reliable and continuous power for this state.
The visit also took the governor and his guests to the piles and pylon factory at Kankpa, where poles and other accessories are being produced to assist in the generation, transmission and distribution of power from the power plant. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
To legislative matters, Speaker House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila says Nigerians will need to be patient with elected lawmakers to address high legislative turnover aimed at building legislative experience to deal with technicalities in legislative duties. This was at the 5th edition of the National Legislative Conference held in Abuja. Dayo Ogunshola reports.
This is the 5th edition of National Dialogue. The focus this time is on Nigeria's legislative experience, reflection on legislative turnover, institutional building, and governmental accountability. Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila is here represented by a man with more than 3 decades of experience at the House of Representatives.
So I want to urge Nigerians, especially at this critical period where we are going back to the vote, that Nigerians must be patient with their members of the National Assembly. Bring back your members. It gives you more pride than rejecting them.
Former President of the Senate, Amen Ebute, placed the burden of legislative turnover in Nigeria on the dictate of Constitution.
The Constitution provides for the removal of everybody at the end of the 4 years.
Of the 360-member House of Representatives, over 170 of them failed to emerge at the primary elections of their respective political parties.
You see someone in America serving the Congress for 59 years in the face of the Congress.
The organizers are optimistic that the communique from here will enrich the nation's democratic experience. In Abuja, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariola, has described Governor Nyesom Wike as the shining light of the legal profession who has positively impacted Rivers State and the entire Nigerian judiciary. Ogidi Nyokwere reports that the Chief Justice made the remark at the inauguration of the Federal Judicial Service Commission Liaison Office and Justice Mary Odili Judicial Institute in Port Harcourt.
Justice Mary Odili Judicial Institute was conceived by the Rivers State government to address the challenge of accommodation and carrying capacity at the National Judicial Institute for training of all cadres of judicial officers and their support staff. Governor Wike says the institute will help to reduce the financial cost of training judicial officers outside the state. The governor advocated a special budget for the institute to function optimally and promised a take-off grant of 500 million naira, pending when the institute's budget will be included in the 2023 appropriation bill.
She's the only person in this state who has risen from the magistracy to the High Court, to the Court of Appeal, down to Supreme Court.
Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwola, described the 2 edifices inaugurated as an uncommon feat, saying Governor Wike has relentlessly worked towards the growth of the judiciary in the country.
Today, you have graciously fulfilled the befitting office accommodation need of the Federal Judicial Service Commission, a federal agency that ordinarily has no direct bearing with Rivers State.
Justice Mary Audley, retired, whom the institute was named after, appreciated the Rivers State government for the gesture.
I was not the most intelligent in our set. I was not the most cerebral of the magistrates in Rivers State, nor that of the High Court. But God, in his way of elevating even the unknown to prominence, decided he had to have me elevated.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria also inaugurated the Federal Judicial Service Commission Liaison Office, also built by the Rivers State government. In Port Harcourt, Oge Dinyekwere, NTA News.
Let's take a break. The news continues.
Saturday, 26th November 2022, 10:30 p.m. Do not miss it.
You're welcome back to Electoral Matters now. The Osun Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Osogbo has issued fresh order directing the Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to produce the certified copy of document used by Senator Ademola Adeleke in the 2018 Osun Governorship election. Joshua Ogunjide reports.
At the resumed hearing on Friday, the tribunal panel affirmed that the essence of the oral application of the petitioners was as a result of the failure of the first respondent, INEC, to produce Form CF001 and its attached document as directed to INEC Rec in the first instance. The Osun Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Motiu Agboke, represented by one Sheikh Mohammed, failed to produce the Form CF001 on the excuse that the document is with INEC headquarters in Abuja. The tribunal ruled that the mere appearance of the representative of REC has not answered the subpoena, noting that an application for subpoena is an administrative act, and when it is granted, it becomes judicial act, and the party upon which the subpoena is issued must comply. According to the ruling, the petitioners have shown sufficient reasons for the tribunal to compel the national chairman of INEC to produce the documents in question.
INEC is a very responsible agency of government and that respects rule of law and respects court orders, even though we have grounds to challenge the order, but we're not going to do that.
On our own side, no shaking. We are confident that at the end of the day, we will prevail.
Thursday, 1st of December 2022 was fixed for the presentation of the set credentials. Joshua Agujide, NT News.
Meanwhile, INEC has released guidelines for the conduct of political rallies, processions and campaigns, as well as finances and election expenses of political parties, candidates and aspirants. The 12-point guideline on conduct of political rallies and campaigns deals with issues of procedure, clash of dates, venue and time of campaigns. The 9-point guideline on finances and election expenses of political parties reminds stakeholders on the procedures and limits of individual and group donations, as well as submission of revenues and expenditures after the election. Meanwhile, INEC has approved the appointment of the Secretary of the Commission, Mrs. Rose Oraran Anthony, for a second and final term of 4 years with effect from 7th December 2022. To agriculture, the Minister of Agriculture has advised Association of Master Bakers in Rivers State to utilize high-quality cassava flour in baking to drive its adoption in the flour milling industry. This was at a capacity building training for master bakers on the inclusion of 20% high-quality cassava flour in bread making and other confectionaries organized by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Gabriel Amunike reports.
50 master bakers in Rivers State were trained in the inclusion of 20% cassava flour in bread production. They were taught the usage of 20% high-quality cassava flour and 40 kg wheat flour. The mixture was displayed to the participants at the workshop. The inclusion of 20% high-quality cassava flour policy put in place by the federal government has the potential to generate more employment, save billions of naira daily, as well promotes wealth creation.
This will create more employment for our people in the cassava value chain, in the processing of the cassava into flour, as well as to reduce crime in the country.
Deputy Director, Root and Tuber Division, Abuja, says Nigeria produces about 60 million tons of cassava yearly and the largest producer of cassava in the world. But he is worried that the potential is still untapped.
Not only cassava, sweet potato is there, sorghum is there, cassava is there. If it is mixed appropriately, it will have advantages to many of us.
Where can we get this high quality cassava flour? Is it available and at what cost? And looking at what we have done here today, it will cost more to use cassava in bread production. At the end of the day, the baker is out to make profit.
At the end of the training, each participant went home with a 20 kg bag of high-quality cassava flour. In Port Harcourt, Gabriel Amonike, NTA News.
Now, Christmas can be said to have come early for Mr. Ola Owanifari, an engineer resident in River State, as he emerged the winner of House in the global ongoing Festival of Joy promo. Joy Uzo was at the presentation ceremony in Port Harcourt and now reports.
Globalcom Nigeria Limited Festival of Joy promo designed to reward subscribers nationwide with amazing prizes such as 20 houses, 24 brand new cars, 100 generators, 200 sewing machines and 1,000 rechargeable fans has captured Mr. Ola Owanifari in the list of lucky winners of a brand new house.
Myself and my wife, in the night we wake up some 2 months ago, we prayed that God should move us out of this place. And we prayed that prayer only one day and we never pray about it again. So here we are today. That prayer is a reality.
The promo has a big spread joy to Ibadan, the capital city of Oyo State, where Ibrahim Akindele, a Nigerian-old student of the State University, won the first dance. This is the first dance we are giving in Port Harcourt. There are other 3 houses available in Port Harcourt. The joy will spread into the new year with other prize presentation events to be held in other locations.
I commend them, and I'm also recommending to other businesses, even multinationals beyond the communication companies in Nigeria. They should be able to do something like this because you don't leave everything for government.
All the new subscribers can participate by dialing *611#. Subscribers targeting the 3-bedroom houses must make a data subscription of at least 20,000 naira during the promo period, while those interested in winning cars should make a monthly subscription of 10,000 naira, and the list goes on for other prizes. In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
As part of measures to breach deficit in infrastructure funding imposed on project financing by stiff annual budget cycles, the federal government has been advised to take another look at the proposal for the establishment of a special purpose infrastructure bank set up solely for project development in the country. The call was one of the major talking points at the 2022 annual conference of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors held in Lagos. Adeni Taiwo reports.
For the year. With a professional mandate to offer expert guide on construction cost management and contracts, the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors is one of the key players in the infrastructure development ecosystem in the country. Its 2022 annual conference and general meeting provides a platform for the Institute to go beyond re-examining its own role in national development to interrogating emerging trends and challenges to infrastructure project funding.
If you go to any commercial bank in Nigeria today to raise money for any infrastructure project, of course, they will be treated like just any other person, unless you are getting a concessionary loan from CBN.
While acknowledging that successful implementation of projects is sometimes affected by budget cycles, Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Rajifashola, who declared the conference open, and his predecessor in office, Mike Onalememe, both represented, said government is pushing infrastructural development through other vehicles.
President Muhammadu Buhari have actually done almost abandoned projects. He resuscitated them and made sure they are viable and funded them to clear all the abandoned projects to give room for new ones.
You don't do the finish designing and you're not secure, oh, come and cause this project. No.
Papers presented at the conference include transparency in cost management of public infrastructure and curtailing PPP infrastructure costs.
If 50% of 1.21 trillion is lost, that's a huge loss. So to prevent it, there is the need to pursue transparency.
Other recommendations at the conference include the need for government to come up with more initiatives to harness excess liquidity in circulation for infrastructural development. In Lagos, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
4 teachers identified to be demonstrating commitment to filling the skills gap in girl child education with their personal resources have emerged winners of the inaugural West Africa Teachers Innovation Prize Award in Lagos. This was at the 2022 Education Innovation Summit with the theme Reimagining the Future of Education in Africa, Bridging the Skills Gap. Adiola Kamiakere reports.
UNICEF statistics revealed that over 60% of the 10 million out-of-school children in Nigeria are girls. This figure, which is further worsened by attacks on schools, calls for urgent attention. To change the narrative underscores the drive by the Development Research and Project Center, RDPC, having recognized that the education of a girl child is critical to transforming communities.
Focus on that was to see how teachers influence, that particular challenge and are innovating in the space. About 50% of the population of girls in the regions of the winners will be impacted. Going by the applications we received, the research we've conducted on the applications, we have ranges of 30 to 60% impact on the girls in their communities from their innovations.
This is a very commendable affair because it shows that teachers are now recognized.
Aishatu Jafar Suleiman, Alebioshu, Oluwakayode, Ibrahim Benushola, and Umar Samaila were the successful teachers out of the 25 who vied for the contest with exceptional innovations.
Just 2 weeks ago, she called me and told me, Aisha, you are going to be recognized very soon. Just continue to do what you are doing. Hard work pays.
Our innovation was very, very special, and it's focused on the girl child specifically. I think everyone was the girl child.
I believe that the greatest investment you can ever have in life is to invest in others.
Inshallah, we'll use this money to spend for our community because we are in need of it.
The West Africa Teachers Innovation Prize Award was organized by the Development Research and Project Center with funding support from Ford Foundation. The Education Summit also featured panel sessions. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
For more reports from Lagos, Adeola is our guide. Hello, Adeola.
Jummai. Zenith Bank PLC says it is not only passionate about human capacity development, but investment in projects with long-term socio-economic benefits to its host communities. This was demonstrated at the inauguration of the University of Lagos Alumni Building, a partnership project of the bank and the university in memory of former Vice Chancellor Yusuf Ibidakbobi. Adeni Taiwo reports that the ceremony was performed by Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel.
Zenith Bank's approach to sustainability is anchored on creating value for stakeholders with principles to deliver positive impact on the society and economy in general. This edifice, named after former Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Oyewusi Ibidakbobi, further demonstrates the bank's commitment to the advancement of qualitative education and to sustain the legacies of the former Vice Chancellor.
We are elevating our partnership with the University of Lagos
with this building. And I also say that this building is an expression of our sustainability initiative. And we'll use this building to demonstrate the fact that we will live out these principles.
We especially thank God for the honor of having a building, the best on this campus, named after him in recognition of his good deeds.
Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, who inaugurated the project, acknowledged the huge contributions of the honoree for his exemplary leadership.
The best legacy in life are the people that you develop, not just what money can buy, but what money can help us, which is the knowledge imparted by many of us.
Vice Chancellor of the institution, Professor Folashade Ogunshola, said the project will support the execution of alumni activities.
We intend to improve our alumni relations by starting with our students. We are putting in place things that will make them enjoy their time on this campus.
The building sits on a total land space of 950 square meters with 1,665 square meter office space, banking hall, and other innovative facilities. In Lagos, Adini Itaiwo, NTA News.
50 youths from all 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria have been rewarded with cash sum to boost their entrepreneurial skills. Annie Daniels reports that it was courtesy the International Breweries Foundation in Lagos.
An improved quality of life for the underprivileged through driving a positive sense of self-decision-making skills, a moral system of belief, and pro-social connectedness was what prompted the International Breweries PLC to initiate the Kickstart program.
Agriculture is one of the platforms. We also focus on businesses that are bringing solutions to some of the environmental problems that we have. So we talk about recycling. We talk about climate actions, specifically renewable energy. We also support businesses in the area of ICT.
We provide training for them, we provide small grants for them, but above all, we provide a whole year mentorship for these people.
7th in the series. The Kickstart program management of International Breweries PLC says has recorded great feat, even as 85% of the entrepreneurs who received funding in the first 3 years of Kickstart created over 500 jobs and generated over 200 million naira in combined revenue.
So if we put more resources, then we can encourage more youths to benefit. These kind of things that the takeaway we are going to have from this kind of program, then we give feedback to those to policymakers in government.
And for these new 50 youth, beneficiaries of IBL Kickstart's Milk of Kindness, Nigeria's economy will surely receive a boost.
We came up with recycling waste papers into ceiling tile. So this ceiling tile is easing housing deficit in Nigeria. And as such, is giving access to affordable housing because our ceiling tile is non-asbestos. I'm an agricultural farmer. I'm into rice production. I want to use this money that I got to advance my own farming.
International Breweries PLC management says the company will remain committed to encouraging young entrepreneurs develop their big ideas into sustainable businesses. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And that wraps it from this end. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.nj/live and on our other social media handles.
Thanks for rejoining us. Countries across the globe are today observing the International Day for the Elimination of Gender-Based Violence, a campaign calling for global action to increase awareness, promote advocacy, and create opportunities for discussions on challenges and solutions. Momso Damien Datti takes a look at how far Nigeria has gone in view of this.
It was Uwaila Omoswa in Edo State, raped and killed in a church. Then Amina in Ibadan. Another is the battering and abuse of a wife in Mina. Before you know it, it was like a wildfire spreading all over the country, inflicting violence and abuses of all forms on its victims.
He beat me with a machete that time. I was 3 months pregnant, so I know the baby.
Immediately, individuals, groups, civil society organizations swung into action, demanding for a stop to the trend. In response, an interministerial committee on eradication of sexual and gender-based violence, the development of gender-based policy guidelines was inaugurated.
This administration remains resolute to end child marriage, boost girl-child education.
The advocacy that has led to the domestication of the Child Rights Act 2003 by 32 states as against 23 in 2019. And the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, this is to give us the legal backing to prosecute offenders, violators of women and girls' human rights.
The federal government of Nigeria, with the EU-UN Spotlight Initiative, established a national gender-based violence situation room.
Real-time data to provide evidence-based planning and monitoring of the issues and concerns of women and children, including the girl child.
Furthermore, are the economic empowerment programs under the National Social Investment Program. There are indications that positive results are being recorded, but more needs to be done. Momso Damien Lati, NTA News.
Similarly, President Muhammadu Buhari has called on Nigerians and other critical stakeholders to stand firm against rape and rapists towards eliminating all forms of sexual and gender-based violence in the country. The president made the call in a message during the official unveiling of Hanan Buhari Foundation, aimed at fighting the scourge of rape and other sexual-based violence in the society. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports that President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, commended the initiative of Hanan Buhari for what he described as a wake-up call for young girls and women to speak out for intervention towards ending the scourge.
And our legislation too does not give the necessary encouragement for people to report, and investigations conducted and eventually trials pursued because of the intricate legal system. How many years does a victim have to wait to get justice?
The founder of Hanan Buhari Foundation, HBF, a member of the First Family, promised to continue to advocate for the eradication of violence against women towards ending the rape culture in the society.
A rape survivor must have immediate access to a health clinic that can provide emergency medical care, including HIV prevention and treatment, as well as counseling. A woman has been beaten by her husband, needs somewhere to go to with her children to find sanity, safety, and shelter.
Stakeholders from within and outside the country, National Assembly, traditional rulers, non-governmental organizations and other development partners reaffirmed their commitment towards ending the scourge. When it comes to improving an individual or organizational capacity to perform at an optimum level, there can be no limit. And this is where the NTA Programs Directorate has found strength, and it is providing opportunities for staff across states and zones to refresh, relearn and deliver in all fronts through its annual conference, with the 2022 edition just ended in Abuja. Charles Alpha tells us more.
It was 4 days of short but intensive training for the NTA program producers, presenters and directors as they interacted with reputable resource persons. They say they have been re-energized.
It's been very, very impactful. We learned so many things, we learned new things. Just like they say that knowledge has no ending.
From the rudiments of how to produce good content, especially documentaries and dramas, to better presentation and production techniques, the NTA Programs Directorate's Conference 2022 leaves more to be remembered.
And I'm hoping that as we continue to do this, you will see improvements on our screen. You know, NTA is a very large organization. We want to teach them that coming here and working for NTA is a passion.
NTA is
For the Director General of NTA, Salihu Abdul Hamid Dembo, the training provided avenues to equip staff to make the organization better through teamwork, but also advised them never to despair, with necessary steps already taken to improve welfare.
Regardless of the kind of equipment you have, if you don't have the motivated men and women behind the equipment, they cannot operate themselves. We have what it takes, and we should continue to do that. We are all relevant, and collectively, we will make things possible.
As the conference wind down, emotion rose from the deep to the surface. Various categories of awards were presented to those who have done the organization proud.
What I am today, by the special grace of God, NTA made me. They want the best from me, just show me love. And I found love in this place.
With or without this award, I will always put in my best.
It's now a call for more, for those who have been awarded from the conference, to allow passion for the job be the driving force in the quest to add value to the organization. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
And Benny Adams is here with business news. Are we looking at a bearish or bullish end of the month?
Well, we're going bullish, Jummai. Thank you and welcome to business. The Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabweze, says government is making efforts towards ensuring women in agriculture are empowered. Akabweze was speaking while addressing an association of smallholder women farmers in Abuja.
Critical stakeholders, state and non-state actors, as well as development partners, including the IBP, to further deepen these reforms and improve the fiscal governance in Nigeria, particularly as it relates to ensuring that the budget is more citizen-focused. These efforts have also undoubtedly yielded great success in recent times, with Nigeria's open budget survey rating improving greatly in the last open budget survey report.
And taking a look at the markets, the equities in Nigeria appreciated this Friday as the all-share index closed at 47,554.34 basis points. And on the last trading day of the week, investors exchanged 98.9 million shares valued at 5.5 billion naira in 2,780 deals. Market capitalization left the 24 trillion naira level to close as much as 25.9 trillion naira. FCMB, MTN Nigeria, and Fidelity Bank were the toast of investors for the day. That is Business News. Network News continues with Jummai.
Thank you, Benny. Now talking security, Nigerian Army has deployed another set of medical contingents for peace support operation in Mali, a West African country. Suleiman Rigachukun reports that the personnel are deployed after 3 weeks of intensive training at the Martin Luther Agwe International Leadership and Peacekeeping Center, Jaji, Kaduna.
Terrorism and insurgency in West African sub-region requires collaborative engagement between sister countries to surmount. Nigeria has for decades under the United Nations peacekeeping and peace support operations been contributing to regional, continental and global peace. The 65 Nigerian medical contingents 9 level 2 are trained under the United Nations multidimensional integrated stabilization mission in Mali, deployed to participate in peace support operations.
The troops went through mission-specific training, which was undertaken to impart practical knowledge on the mission environment, mandates, cultures of the host nation. You have carried out the Advanced Combat Lifesaver course. You are expected to deploy these newly acquired skills to save lives in the mission area.
Nigeria, Army authorities say, will not relent on its effort at ensuring national security and continental stability through effective engagement with neighboring countries and global community. Suleiman Rigachukun, NTA News.
Let's take another break. The news continues in a moment.
Okay, yeah. Driver, stop. Where you go, say? Na Qatar, the rush go so. Qatar. I get prepared for you. Give me this one. This one will make sense for you. Nice one. I like. I'm fine.
Bona. Wow, my brother, welcome to Qatar 2022. Bro, it's amazing.
Qatar 2022 go hit you, Yakata. On top Go TV Super. Enjoy all the 64 games live for your domot. Make you catch all the action and commentary for English, Pidgin, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba.
Oh, good header, good goal.
Go TV, love it.
But then when you see your mother, you start to act like you're deaf and dumb. You were supposed to be more careful. I've been. Really not enough.
President Muhammadu Buhari sympathizes with family, friends, and professional associates of renowned gospel singer Sammy Okwaso over his demise. In a statement, the president commiserates with the Christian community, particularly Okwaso's colleagues in the gospel music and the younger generation, who have over the years identified with his elevating style of praise and worship. President Buhari notes the unique platform of worship created by Okwaso and the inspiring role he played in grooming talent and mentoring them to stardom. The President prays for the repose of his soul, urging the family to find solace in his investment of love. On that note, we sign off on Network News tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Jummai Yusuf. Don't forget to join the fight against rape and rapists.